Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin, amma ba'd. So as we continue discussing the book Bulugh al-Maram, and still we're in the chapter of Kitab al-Buyu, and discussing matter pertaining to Bab al-Riba, matter that relates to the ahkam of riba. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be continuing by discussing other hadith that relates to this particular topic, of al-Riba, and what is the ahkam pertaining to this regarding the do's and the don'ts. So Ibn Hajar rahimahullah will mention other hadith regarding explaining further of cases that are said to be a riba, so the Muslim is aware of those things that are not allowed and what is considered to be a part of a riba. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll have the hadith be read, and then the hadith will be discussed as we will normally discuss the hadith by making takhrij of the hadith, mention something about some of the Sahaba, and then giving the ahkam and the fawahid that can be taken from the hadith. So we'll have two hadith will be read today, and two hadith to be read and be discussed on this topic of riba. Aywa.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Hadith 701, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah radiyallahu anhuma. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam forbade selling a quantity of dates whose measure was unknown for a specified known quantity of dates, reported by Muslim. Hadith 702, narrated Ma'mur bin Abdullah radiyallahu anhu. I used to hear Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, food may be sold for food of the same quantities. Our food at the time consisted of barley, reported by Muslim.
Alhamdulillah. So as for the hadiths that were read, there are two hadith. The first hadith, the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhuma, قال نهى رسول الله عليه السلام عن البيع الصبرة من التمر لا يعلم مكيلها بالكيل مسمى من التمر, رواه Muslim. So that's the first hadith that the author rahimahullah he mentioned. And then as for the second hadith that he mentioned, it states, and Ma'mar ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhu قال إني كنت أسمع رسول الله عليه السلام يقول الطعام بالطعام مثلا بمثل وكان طعامنا يومئذ الشعير, رواه Muslim. So these are the two hadith that author rahimahullah have mentioned in this discussion regarding riba and the ahkam that relates to riba. So as for the first hadith that is mentioned, where he states and Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhuma. So Jabir, we have discussed something regarding Jabir before, and as for what can be taken from this hadith, so the first thing that we'll discuss is takhrij of the hadith. So the first of the hadith of Jabir is the takhrij of the hadith. So Imam Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, Hafiz Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, قال رواه Muslim. So the hadith is collected by Imam Muslim rahimahullah. Then as for others who have given a little more detail and more other sources regarding those who have narrated, compiled this hadith that they have mentioned, Sheikh Al-Fahl in his tahqiq is checking of the book of Bulugh al-Maram. When he mentioned this particular hadith, he mentioned Al-Khamsa. So he mentioned this hadith. Then he states regarding concerning this hadith, of the sources of this hadith, he states أخرجه الشافعي في مسندي. So Imam Shafi'i, that there is a musnad that is compiled of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, even though Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was not the one who authored that book, but he came after. And Sheikh Mahir Al-Fahl also have done some work, some tahqiq of this book, that he did he had published his book years ago, Musnad al-Shafi. Then he did a revision of the book, and with some additional stuff. So the second print of the book is considered to be the better print of the Musnad of Imam Shafi rahimahullah. Then he mentioned, well, Muslim, also the hadith is collected by Imam Muslim rahimahullah, Nasa'i, Ibn Jarud, Abu Awana, Ibn Hibban, Al-Hakim, Al-Bayhaqi. So these are of those who have collected this hadith. So alongside Imam Muslim rahimahullah, of those who also have collected this hadith, Imam Shafi, in what you refer to as Musnad al-Shafi'i, Nasa'i, alongside with Muslim, Ibn Jarud, Abu Awana, Ibn Hibban, Al-Hakim, and Al-Bayhaqi. So these are those sources that I've mentioned this particular hadith. As for the second thing that is mentioned regarding concerning the hadith, is Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, he mentioned that this particular hadith again regarding discussing matters pertaining to riba, and of the matter to be discussed regarding that with matters regarding items that relates to riba, that if one is ignorant, jahl bil tasawi, if one is ignorant of these items being of equal measurement, then this will fall into riba of those items that are referred to as the items of riba. So the items of riba, of the condition that they should be similar in weight, in measurement, even if they may differ regarding the quality, but the quantity must be the same. And also they're given hand to hand. So the mention regarding concern of this matter, so this hadith is to show regarding, as it mentioned, that even in cases where the measurement may be, the person is not aware of the measurement, then this also may fall into a riba because of a difference in the weight, a difference in the measurement. So the mention regarding concern the hadith, the mention the Prophet ﷺ, naha Rasul ﷺ, and al-bay, الصبرة من التمر لا يعلم مكيلها بالكيل مسمى من التمر. Then he mentioned regarding concern that, so the Shaykh Hafidullah تبارك وتعالى, Shaykh Abdullah Fawzan, he mentioned الحديث دليل على نهي عن بيع الصبرة من التمر وهي كومة. So they mentioned that as for الصبرة, then it's like a pile of dates. So it's like a pile of dates. Then they mention, which is unknown, the measurement of this pile of dates. So a pile of dates is being sold, but the measurement is unknown. So he mentioned regarding concerning that التي لا يعلم كيلها بتمر آخر علم كيلو, where the person, two sets of one is exchanging, one is selling date with dates. One of those measurement is known, what is being sold is unknown, and what is being bought is known. So one weight is known and the other is unknown. So you mentioned that because there's a difference in the two weight, and the item is tamar, and tamar, it falls under those things that they mentioned regarding of those items of riba. If you're selling the same item, then they have to be of the same weight. So you mentioned that based upon this, then also this is a case of riba. So this is the highlight, that there's cases of riba that a person may not be aware of, but based upon the rules of riba, then cases like these are transactions like these would be considered to be a form of riba. So I mentioned regarding concern that we mentioned that la yu'lam makiluha. So makil of that item is unknown, but the measurement of the other item, the others that tamar from the other side, it is known. So one item, both are the same, but one is known regarding its weight, and the other, its weight, its measurement is unknown. So they mentioned that in this case, it falls under a riba. It falls under a riba. So this considered to be a riba transaction, usually transaction. They mentioned لأن الصبرة يجهل كيلها, because this pile of dates, its measurement, the quantity is unknown. By concern is miqdar. So they mentioned that as a part of the transaction, that both have to be of the same measurement, both have to be of the same measurement, weight and quantity. So they mentioned that فلذلك مظنة للزيادة. So it is a possibility that one may be of a weight more than the other. There's a possibility. So in that case, because of ignorance, not knowing the weight of one item, then this could means that one weigh more than the other. So by this, it constitute a form of riba. So they mentioned regarding concern that of the condition regarding these items of riba, that both have to be, when they are being sold and bought, they have to be of the same measurement, not one more than the other in weight. Even if one is of the difference in quality, they said that does not changes that both still has to be of the same quantity. So they mentioned regarding concern, so that's concerning this matter in this exchange. So in an exchange where both items are the same, if one is known and the other is unknown, then a possibility of riba, so this is considered to be something which is forbidden. So the Prophet said, فَنَهَا, the Prophet naha Rasul alayhi salam, so the Prophet he forbade such a transaction. So this type of, it showed that it's something which is haram, so the ruling will go with this, is that this type of transaction will be considered to be haram regarding items that could fall under a riba. So they mentioned that the Shaykh he mentioned second regarding وَهَذَا hadith هو دليل القاعدة في هذا باب. So this particular hadith becomes like a qaida, a principle that is used regarding that items that are the same jins, that if they're being sold, that they have to be of the same quantity so as not to fall into riba. So items of riba, they have to be of the same quantity. So they mentioned regarding concerning that, and it mentioned also وَهِيَ أَنَّ الْجَهْلِ بِالتَّسَاوِي, that if one is ignorant, one is unaware of that the measurement of one of the items, then that becomes a problem. A problem, and that will be considered to be, as he mentioned, فيما يشترط فيه تساوي, in matters where it is a condition for those items to be exchanged, to be sold, that both have to be of the same weight. He mentioned كعلم بالتفاضل, is as if the person that is as if it is that a difference in weight, a difference in its quantity. So that's concerning that this matter that Author rahimahullah he highlights regarding this matter. So he mentioned وَلِذَلِكَ أَنَّ الْأَحْوَالِ ثَلَاثَةً, that these items that falls into riba, that they fall into three categories. He mentioned one, تساوي بين عوضين, that regarding the two items that are being exchanged, that both are of equal weight, both are of similar weight. Then I mentioned هذا هو الواجب. So in that case, that is considered to be wajib. In those things that riba can occur, in those cases that riba can occur, riba items, then tamar with tamar, dates with dates, they have to be of the same weight. They have to be of the same weight. Gold with gold, also the same thing. Silver with silver, they have to be of the same weight, even though one may be of a higher quality over the other. Then I mentioned tafadul بين عوضين, that if there's a difference in the weight or the measurement of these items that fall under riba, the same item that I mentioned in the hukum of this, وَهَذَا muharram, that is considered to be haram. It's a haram transaction. So as لأنه riba, because it will fall under a transaction of riba, which is haram. Then I mentioned the third case, الجهل بالتساوي, that case where a person is ignorant, a person is unaware of the measurement of both items, that they're not similar. Then I mentioned in that case, هذا كذلك haram, هذا muharram. Also, this will consider to be also a transaction which is haram, where one is ignorant, unaware of the measurement of both items, that they are the same, or that the same weight, or the same quantity. So in those cases, then you consider to be haram, because a possibility of it falling into riba. لأن الجهل, then he mentioned the reason, لأن الجهل بالتساوي كعلم بالتفاضل. If you are ignorant of the difference, as if you are aware that they are of difference, that they are indifferent. So that's concerning of those things that can be taken from that first hadith that have been mentioned here. So as I mentioned regarding concerning that this hadith is the highlight regarding of those cases where things are of the same item, that they have to be of the same weight or measurement. If not, then it fall into a riba. And if the person is ignorant of the weight of both being similar, then that also open the door of a possibility that one may weigh more than the other, or is of a different measurement of the other. So based on this, it falls into a transaction which is haram, because of the possibility of riba, or it being of riba. So they mentioned regarding concern of those cases regarding things that are weighed, things that are measured, and they have the same item, then they have to be similar in measurement. They have to be similar in measurement. As for if the items are different, then that rule does not apply. So if the items are different, then that rule does not apply. A person selling things of date with material. The person selling dates, exchange with date with material, then they do have to be of the same weight. So the difference in weight doesn't occur in these cases regarding where the items are different. The next hadith that is mentioned, he states the author rahimahullah ta'ala, عن معمر ابن عبد الله قال إنني كنت أسمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول الطعام بالطعام مثلا بمثل وكان طعامنا يومئذ الشعير رواه مسلم. So as for the second hadith, that this particular hadith that they mention, as for the takhrij of the hadith, as brief takhrij of the hadith, where they can somewhat mention some additional sources that are not mentioned by mentioned by Ibn Hajar, that he mentioned hadith rawahu Muslim. So he only state the hadith is found or reference the hadith only to Imam Muslim rahimahullah. So as for what is mentioned by Sheikh Al-Fahl in his checking of Bulugh Maram, when he state this hadith or mention this hadith mentioned, or side is mentioned, akhrajahu Ahmad in his Musnad wa Muslim. So as we said that Sheikh Mahir, that he will mention them based upon their wafayat. So depending upon certain order, those who, so he mentioned Ahmad, because Ahmad rahimahullah, he died before Muslim. So he mentioned them, the hadith, based upon the time of death of the collectors. So he mentioned Ahmad, then he mentioned Muslim, then he mentioned also Ibn Abi Asim in one of his works that is called Al-Ahad wal-Mathani. Al-Ahad wal-Mathani. And that book is in print. Then also the hadith is collected by Abu Awana. Also the hadith and also the hadith is found in Tahawi in his book Shar Ma'ani, Ibn Hibban, Tabarani in his Mujam al-Kabir, Ad-Darakutni wal-Bayhaqi. So these are the sources of this hadith of Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ta'ala anhu. So the sources again, Ahmad in his Musnad, Imam Muslim in his Sahih, Ibn Abi Asim in his book Al-Ahad wal-Mathani, Abu Awana, Tahawi in his book Shar Ma'ani, as he has several books, Ibn Hibban, At-Tabarani fil Kabir, which is Mujam al-Kabir, and Darakutni wal-Bayhaqi. So those are the sources of this hadith that have been mentioned. And the hadith is Sahih, and the hadith in the Sahih Muslim. As for, so that's takrij of the hadith. So they mentioned also with this particular hadith that Shaykh Abdullah and others have mentioned that also the hadith that Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he kind of somewhat summarized the hadith as he does in many cases. So Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, that he has summarized this hadith where there's like a story with this particular hadith. So he does mention, as they say, the main bit of the hadith, but there's also an additional wording that goes with the hadith. So they mentioned regarding to this hadith, as mentioned by Sheikh Abdullah, annahu, yani, he mentioned, and so it mentioned, and Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ta'ala anhu, annahu arsala gulamu, that he had a gulam. So he had a gulam, that he asked him, sent him on a mission, bisah al-qam, that he sent him regarding that for him to do a transaction on his behalf. So he gave him some wheat, a form of hard wheat. Then I mentioned, فَقَال بِعُوا, for you to sell this wheat. وَاشْتَرِي بِهِ شَعِيرٌ, sell this wheat that I'm giving to you, and for you to purchase, and for you to buy shahir, which is another form of wheat. So he has al-qumh, and also he want for him to sell this off, and then use this money to buy sha'ir, barley, فَذَهَبَ الْغُلَامِ. So the young boy, he went off, or the chap, he went off, this person, he went off, فَذَهَبَ الْغُلَامِ فَأَخَذَ سَاعًا. So he took sa'an, وَزِيَادَ بَعْدَ سَاعًا. So he took something more than the weight, he exceeded the weight. Then when he came back, فَقَال فَلَمَّا جاء معمرا, when he came back to Ma'mar, أخبره بذلك, he informed me of what have occurred, that the item that was difference in weight. فقال له معمر لما فعلت ذلك, why did you do this? So he exchanged the item with the same item but difference in weight. فقال Ma'mar, when he did this, فقال انطلق فرده, then you should go back and return this. You should return this. So go back and return of this item. That قال فلا تأخذن إلا, and for you not to take إلا مثلا بمثل, for you not to take except something which is similar in weight. Then he mentioned فإنني كنت أسمع رسول الله عليه السلام يقول الحديث الطعام بالطعام بمثل مثلا بمثل. So he mentioned the hadith that why he had advised this person to return this item, because the transaction was not done correctly. Then he mentioned that so after hadith that's concerning the story behind this hadith. Then the next matter is regarding Ma'mar ibn Abdullah. So regarding Ma'mar ibn Abdullah, so the Tarjuma of Ma'mar ibn Abdullah, so a brief biography of Ma'mar ibn Abdullah. Ma'mar, it is stated by Ibn Abdul Barr, Ma'mar ibn Abdullah, قال, as for his name, Ma'mar ibn Abdullah, so Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ibn Nadla ibn Auf ibn Ubaid ibn Uwayj ibn Adi ibn Kab al-Qurashi al-Adawi. So that's his name. So I mentioned, so he is Ma'mar ibn Abdullah, in brief, Qurashi al-Adawi, or Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ibn Nadla al-Qurashi al-Adawi. And Ali ibn Madini, Imam Ali ibn Madini rahimahullah ta'ala, mentioned that, considered that he mentioned that his name is Huwa Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ibn Nafa ibn Nadla. So they mentioned that Ma'mar, Ali ibn Medina mentioned Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ibn Nafa ibn Nadla. So before, what is more, they mentioned that we said Ma'mar ibn Abdullah ibn Nadla without an Nafa. So that Waqil Ma'mar, and also it is said ويقال فيه, also it is said about him that he is referred to as Ma'mar ibn Abi Ma'mar, Ma'mar ibn Abi Ma'mar. So that's of regarding his name. They mentioned lahu suhbah, that is also those who is considered to be from the Sahaba, that he met the Prophet ﷺ and died upon Islam. He met the Prophet ﷺ, accepted Islam and died upon Islam. He mentioned Aslama Qadima, of those of the early ones to accept Islam. وتأخر هجرته إلى Medina, but he delayed in making hijrah to Medina. So he accepted Islam from in the early days, but delayed his hijrah to Medina لأنه كان هاجر هجرة الثانية إلى الأرض الحبشة. And of those who were involved in making of hijrah to Habasha, Ethiopia, as it is referred to today. As for Ma'mar ibn Abdullah, they mention Asha Umran Tawila, that he lived for a very long time. He lived for many years. فهو معدود في أهل مدينة, and also is considered to be of the people of أهل Medina. He is considered amongst those of the people of أهل Medina. So that's concerning the Sahabi al-Jalil Ma'mar ibn Abdullah rahimahullah ta'ala anhu rahimahullah ta'ala. So as for the next matter that is mentioned regarding concerning ahkam, what can be extracted regarding the ahkam of this hadith, that Sheikh Abdullah wafaqana Allah wa iyyahu, that he mentioned at-ta'am bit-ta'am, that what is meant by this regarding concerning that, that meaning concerning that bi-ta'am bit-ta'am, for you to sell one item with one item. So bi'at-ta'am bit-ta'am, mithlan bimithlan, mithlan bimithlan. So of the same item, then they are to be sold similar. You can say one item for another. And if the item is the same thing, it mentioned mithlan bimithlin yajib fihi tamathul wa yuhrim tafadul. That with the item is the same, then they have to be of the similar weight, as we had mentioned before. So they have to be similar in weight, in quantity, in measurement, if they are the same item. and it becomes haram for one of the same item to have a difference in their weight, as that will fall into riba. Then I mentioned Ma'amar kind of somewhat gave some clarity regarding the matter. So the Prophet ﷺ mentioned at-ta'am bi-ta'am mithlan bimislin. Then Ma'amar faqal wa kana ta'amuna, as for our ta'am of that time, yawma idin, during that time, ash-sha'ir, that the common ta'am that they would benefit, that they will eat, would be sha'ir and use then. So I mentioned ash-shahir bi-shahir. So I mentioned at-ta'am bi-ta'am, meaning concerning at-ta'am bi-ta'am, meant by this ta'am that is being spoken was not mentioned is sha'ir. So the hadith will be ash-shahir bi-shahir mithlan bimithlin. Ash-shahir, so at-ta'am will equate sha'ir. So if you sell shahir with shahir, it should be of the same measurement. It should be of the same measurement, because due to the fact that they are the same item. Then it mentioned that so the Sahabi Ma'amar, which to give that clarity, so as to remove any form of misunderstanding that anyone may have regarding what is intended, and so he gave that further clarity. So it shows regarding the Sahabi giving certain clarity regarding the hadith. So that's also that is beneficial regarding understanding the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where at times a Sahaba might give some clarity, so as to remove any misunderstanding and for the understanding to be clear as to what is meant and what is intended, and putting things in context. So he mentioned regarding concern that he mentioned that this also for a person to avoid falling into a riba. So to I like the person that they have to follow this procedure, make the transaction in this manner, so as not to fall into a riba. So as we mentioned that, as he said that, he told his Guam, bi' thumma ashtari bihi sha'iran, for you to go and sell this thing and buy for it sha'iran, as he wanted shahir. Then he told him, did mention, فَلَمَّا جَاءَ مَعْمَرْ وَأَخْبَرَهُ بذلك فقال له معمر لما فعلت ذلك, why did you do this after I've told you what to be done, why you did what you did? Then he mentioned انطلق فرده, for you to go back and return this item, ولا تأخذن إلا مثلا بمثل, for you not to take except something which is similar with in weight with something similar. Then he mentioned the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ as a proof regarding why he told this to the Ghulam. So it showed regarding the Sahabi giving dalil for the position that he took and why he said what he said. So he gave the dalil, gave to the Ghulam, and gave clarity to the Ghulam regarding to the Ghulam, showing that the act that he did was incorrect. So corrected it, so show correcting something but with dalil. Correcting something with dalil, and also not just to tell a person what, but also to for him to try to correct that action, which is for him to return that item to the person that he took it from. So clarifying the evidence, clarifying the ruling, giving the evidence, and also correcting the act, correcting the action. So that's concerning of the benefits that can be taken from this particular hadith. So from this, the ulama, they have mentioned that the illah of why he took this stance on this matter, took this ruling on this matter, he mentioned the illah al-riba fi asnaf al-rubawiyah. So regarding concern al-arba wa minha al-ta'am. So things of ta'am, things of food items, grains, that riba may fall into those things. So at-tamar have to be sold with tamar. If they are sold together, then they follow the rules to avoid of riba, which is they have to be of the same measurement. Also the other item that we had mentioned before. So they mentioned that ظاهر hadith أنه عام في كل مطعوم. That is hadith we mentioned الطعام بالطعام, that is this could include all forms of food item, all form of grains. But I mentioned regarding concerning that but what is meant by at-ta'am is not so barley with wheat, rice with wheat, that these are these type of grain item, but they are different items. They are different items. So the one can have difference in weight unless one is doing rice with rice, then same. They have to be after the same weight, even if one grade is higher than the other, because they are the same thing. But if one is doing wheat, rice with tamar dates, then they can vary, they can differ regarding the weight. So he mentioned that that's the even the khilaf between the ulama regarding of the ulama all concerned is not any form of items regarding grains that the same will apply. So you have tamar with wheat, the same will apply. But the correct view is that these are different, even though they are from wheat. They are of ground food item, but they differ. So it's not wajib, it's not a must for them to be similar in measurement, that they may differ, and that does not fall into a riba. As the Shaykh mentioned, that's the position taken by Jumhur of the ulama. So Jumhur of the ulama, that in these items, wheat with rice, barley with rice, barley with tamar, that what is required in those transactions, taqabul, that they exchange, immediate exchange, but it's not required for them to be of the same measurement, So that's the call of Jumhur of the ulama on this matter. So with that matter, these two hadiths give us certain cases and circumstance regarding concern in clarifying cases that riba can occur. Cases where riba can occur, and also show that these matters occur in the time of Sahaba, anhum, and how they corrected these cases, how they corrected these transactions. So show regarding the Sahaba that in this case concerning Ma'mar, that with his Ghulam, that he had the request of the Ghulam, sent the Ghulam to a particular transaction, and the person did something opposite, which he sold that item with the same item with a difference in weight. Then Ma'mar, that when he found out this was informed, he corrected, clarified that this was incorrect, and then clarified regarding what is to be done correctly, and also cited dalil for why he came to that conclusion, and also he asked that Ghulam to go back and to correct what he did, correct that action. So show that certain actions, when a person make error, then also for the person to correct it with those that are involved. So the person make an error, then, and it's been made clarified to the person, and the dalil also have been explained and given, then the person is then to correct the act that he did, correct what he have done. So that inshallah ta'ala, these are the ahkam that relates to these particular hadith regarding cases of riba. With this inshallah ta'ala, we'll end the discussion and continue discussing other ahadith that Ata Ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala have mentioned regarding ahkam الربا وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه السبيل والآخر والحمد لله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay.